The sound of rain mixed with the noise of the city as Ama walked slowly through the crowded streets of Accra. The evening air was heavy, with the scent of dust and wet earth, and every step she took carried the weight of 1,000 memories. Her eyes, once bright with dreams, now held a quiet sadness, the kind that comes when a heart has been broken too many times, yet still beats with strength. Kema had learned to survive by saying nothing. When people insulted her, she stayed quiet. When they betrayed her, she stayed quiet. When they walked away, she stayed quiet. But silence, she would later learn, was not weakness, it was the birthplace of power. Once Ama believed in love more than anything. She believed in the goodness of people. She believed that if she was kind, the world would return that kindness. But the world was not kind to her. The man she loved, Kwame, had promised her forever. He told her she was his everything, that they would build a life together, that he would stand by her through every storm. But when her mother fell sick and her small business began to fail, Kwame changed. His words became cold, his tone distant. One night, he simply said, "Ama, I can't do this anymore. You're too much to handle. I need someone who doesn't bring me problems." And just like that, he left, leaving her broken, abandoned, and humiliated. Emma didn't cry in front of him. She waited until he was gone, then fell to her knees and let the tears pour out. That night she promised herself she would never beg anyone to stay. Days turned into months. Emma tried to rebuild her life, but pain seemed to follow her everywhere. Her friends, the same women she had trusted with her secrets, began whispering behind her back. "She thinks she's special," one said. "Poor Amma, always dreaming too big," said another. When she walked into a room, conversations stopped. When she shared her ideas, they laughed. It felt as if the whole world had turned against her. But Ama said nothing. She learned to let her silence be her shield. Deep inside, something was changing. The girl who once needed validation began to crave independence instead. Every insult became a spark, every betrayal a lesson. Slowly, her silence began to transform into focus. She started again, small, humble, and determined. Using her love for design, Ama began sewing clothes from her tiny apartment. She made modern African outfits, elegant, powerful, rich in color and meaning. Every piece she created carried a story, her pain, her strength, her rebirth. The more she worked, the more people noticed. Her designs weren't just clothes, they were statements. Women who wore them felt bold, confident, unbreakable. And soon word spread beyond her neighborhood. 2 years later, Ama was no longer the broken woman everyone pitied. She was now the founder of Amora's Designs, one of Accra's fastest-growing fashion brands. Her work appeared in magazines, and her name started to echo in elite circles. But Ama never bragged. She still moved quietly, her calmness like an aura that made people respect her without question. The night of her first big fashion show arrived. The city's top designers, models, and business leaders filled the grand hall. Cameras flashed, lights glowed, and whispers of excitement filled the air. Ama stood backstage wearing a sleek black gown she had designed herself, elegant yet fierce. Her reflection stared back at her in the mirror, and for the first time in years, she smiled at the woman she had become. As the show began, the music rose. Models walked down the runway wearing her designs, bold African prints mixed with modern elegance. Each outfit represented a stage of Ama's journey: pain, resilience, and triumph. The crowd was mesmerized. Then, as the final model finished, Ama walked onto the stage. The applause was thunderous. Cameras clicked rapidly as she bowed her head slightly, her eyes glistening with gratitude, but amid the cheers, her gaze caught to faces in the audience. Faces from her past, Kwame and Owa, her former best friend. They sat in the front row, pretending to be happy for her, but their eyes told another story: regret, envy, disbelief. They had come expecting to see the same old Ama still struggling. Instead, they saw a woman reborn, powerful, composed, radiant. Kwame's face tensed as he watched her move gracefully under the spotlight. He remembered the nights she cried because of him, He remembered how easily he walked away. Now, seeing her success, he realized what he had lost. Tu shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She had mocked Emma's dreams, called her foolish, but here was Emma, the woman everyone wanted to know. After the show ended, people rushed to congratulate AMA. Journalists asked for interviews, and buyers offered deals. When the crowd thinned, Kwame approached her slowly. His usual charm replaced by nervousness. "Emma," he said softly, trying to sound confident, "you look incredible. I'm proud of you." Emma turned to face him. Her voice was calm, steady. "You should be," she said. "It took me a long time to become the woman you didn't believe I could be." He hesitated. "Maybe we can start over." Before he could finish, Ajoa stepped in with a forced smile. "Ama, I just wanted to say you did great. I always knew you'd make it." Ama looked at both of them, her silence sharper than any words. Then she said, "When you both hurt me, I stayed quiet. But that silence wasn't weakness. It was strength gathering. And now it speaks louder than your apologies ever could." Kwame's lips parted, but he couldn't speak. Ajoa looked away. Embarrassed, Ama turned and walked toward the exit, her gown trailing behind her like a symbol of victory. Cameras followed her, the girl who once cried in silence now walking like a queen. Later that night, Emma stood on her balcony overlooking the glowing city lights. The air was calm, peaceful. She thought about everything she had lost and everything she had gained. Her silence had once been a cage, but now it was her crown. She whispered to herself, "I didn't need to scream to be heard. My success is my voice now." The wind carried her words into the night, and for the first time AMA truly felt free. The night of the fashion show had changed everything. Emma's name was now on everyone's lips, from Accra's media houses to international magazines. But while success brought light, it also cast shadows. Not everyone who smiled at her meant well, and deep down Amma knew the peace she felt that night was only the calm before another storm. Days after the show, Emma received a message that froze her for a moment. A business proposal from a major investor who wanted to expand Amari's designs across Africa. It was the opportunity she had always dreamed of. But when she saw the name at the bottom of the email, her heart skipped a beat. Kwame Mensah, the same man who once called her too much to handle. The man who left her when her world was falling apart. Emma stared at the screen for a long time. She could feel her emotions rising: anger, confusion, disbelief. But then a small, calm smile appeared on her face. "So now he wants to invest," she whispered. "Let's see how much he believes in me this time." She didn't delete the message. Instead, she replied politely, "Thank you for your interest. Let's meet at my office to discuss this further." The next day, the glass-walled office of Amaris was buzzing with activity. Her team, young, stylish Black African designers and models, moved with energy and pride. The walls were filled with color and art that celebrated African heritage in a modern way. As she waited for Kwame, Amma adjusted the fabric on a mannequin wearing a new gown. The elevator doors opened. Kwame walked in wearing a tailored suit, but the confidence that once defined him was missing. His eyes carried guilt. When he saw Amma, he froze. She looked powerful, elegant, untouchable. "Amma," he said softly, almost whispering, "you've built something amazing." She turned, meeting his gaze. "Shh. Yes, I did. After you left me to build it alone." He swallowed hard. "I know I hurt you. I was foolish. I didn't see your worth then, but I see it now. I want to help you grow this brand across Africa. You deserve it." Emma studied him silently. The old AMA would have cried. The new AMA only smiled. "You want to invest?" she asked calmly. "Fine. But before I say yes, tell me why now." Kwame looked down. "'Cause Rakus, I realized too late what I lost." The silence between them was heavy. Amma finally said, "I built this without you. I don't need saving anymore. But I'll give you a chance, not as a lover, but as a businessman. Let's see if you can keep your promises this time." For the next few weeks, Kwame worked alongside Ama's team. He was professional, respectful, but the guilt never left his face. He watched AMA lead meetings, handle clients, and make decisions with grace and confidence. Every day reminded him of what he had thrown away. But behind the scenes, Ajwa Ama's former friend was plotting. She had joined a rival fashion company and couldn't stand watching Ama succeed. Scazed, she started spreading rumors that Ama had stolen designs, that her success was built on lies. When Ama's investors heard the gossip, they demanded proof. Ama was shocked. Her company's reputation was suddenly under threat. Who would do this? She asked her assistant. Who would want to destroy everything I worked for? Then one morning, a journalist sent her a leaked document, a fake report suggesting Amaras had copied designs. And at the bottom of that document was the signature of Oya Ofori. Ama's heart pounded. The woman who once called herself a friend was trying to ruin her all over again. But Ama didn't lose her calm. She called her lawyer, gathered her evidence, and set a quiet trap. The next week, a major fashion award ceremony took place. AMA was nominated for Designer of the Year. Ajoa's company was also competing. The whole industry was watching. The red carpet shimmered with flashlights as Black African celebrities, models, and entrepreneurs arrived in style. AMA wore an elegant golden gown, modern, confident, royal. When she entered the hall, whispers followed her. Some believed the rumors, others didn't. But Ama walked with her head high, every step echoing strength. As the ceremony began, the host announced, "Tonight, we celebrate excellence, innovation, and integrity in African fashion." When Ama's name was announced as a winner, the hall erupted in applause. But before she stepped on stage, she took a deep breath because she wasn't going to stay quiet this time. She walked gracefully to the podium, holding the golden award in her hand. Cameras zoomed in as she began to speak. "Years ago, I was taught that silence protects peace. But sometimes, silence also hides injustice. Tonight, I want to break mine, not out of anger, but out of truth." The crowd grew silent. Ajoa shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "Someone I once called a friend tried to destroy my name again," Ama continued. "But unlike before, I came prepared. Every design, every sketch, every idea in Amaras is mine, born from pain, discipline, and faith. I don't need to shout to prove my worth. My work speaks for itself." She paused and looked straight into the camera. "To every woman watching, your silence does not mean you're weak. It means you're patient. And when your time comes, your success will speak louder than every lie." The hall exploded in applause. Even those who once doubted her stood to clap. Ajoa's face turned pale as people whispered around her. Kwame's eyes filled with tears, this time not of regret, but of respect. After the ceremony, Ama walked outside into the cool night air. Reporters surrounded her, cameras flashing, but she kept her calm smile. Then, through the crowd, Kwame appeared again. "I don't deserve to say this," he said quietly, "but I'm proud of you, Ama. I came here to help you, but you never needed my help. You taught me something I'll never forget." Ama looked at him for a long moment. "Kwame, forgiveness doesn't mean I forget," she said softly. "It means I've healed enough to move forward." He nodded, his voice breaking. "You really are stronger now." Ama smiled gently. "No," she replied. "I've always been strong. You just couldn't see it before." She turned and walked away, her golden gown catching the streetlights as she disappeared into the night. Later, on her balcony, once again, Ama looked at the stars and whispered, "My silence once hurt me. But now, it's what makes them listen." The wind blew softly across her face, and for the first time, the city felt like it belonged to her.